All right, welcome to the SnydeReport. I am your host, Gary Snyder. With me today, as you can see right next to me, is the Congressman himself, Andre Carson. Congressman, welcome.
Good to be here, my brother.
You know, we were talking off air, so I had Colin Allred on a few weeks ago.
Yes, sir.
And he was telling the story. He said, since none of you look alike, but you were two very tall, bald black men,
yeah,
that people would get you mixed up. So any comment on that, Colin?
yeah. They would throw Cory Booker in there sometimes as well. It was funny, I think out of all of us, Colin is the only one who went professional, but we all used to play football. We were the district champs at Madonna Junior High, football champs, and I pursued a failed rap career. I think Cory played in college and Allen went to the pros, but I think we're all three brothers, man, bald and beige, baby,
Well, I'm not a brother, but I'm getting there.
No, man, you're a brother from another mother, that's all. Clinton County, too, right?
That's right. Frankfurt hot dogs. Matter of fact, we were just there last weekend and stopped at the Milky Way.
Oh, sweet. Your sister's there, right?
I have my sister is in Lafayette, but my mom and my brothers a couple of my brothers are still there.
I thought I ran into your sister recently.
You did.
You
did.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Down in with Beto, wasn't it?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, she's a big volunteer, big supporter of his. So,
yeah, man, he's a good guy, man, smart guy. Yep.
You know, before we get started, I want to get serious here for a minute because there's news out of Minnesota, and I just get so friggin' tired of seeing this crap on TV. Yeah. It's over and over and over. It's so goddamn exhausting.
Yeah.
That you just see these mass shootings after mass shootings of students of all ages. Just a quick thought on what's happening there before we get on to the topics of the day.
Yeah, I think it's always heartbreaking when you see these school shootings, especially coming out of a school like this one, any school, but certainly a school like this, a Catholic school. And it's just very disturbing. I think it speaks to the work that has to be done at our schools, the work that has to be done in our society in terms of mental health, in terms of people who want to take out their anxiety and fears in the midst of this environment on children, man. As a dad, it breaks my heart. It infuriates me. And as law enforcement officer, it infuriates me even more.
Well, and again, our hearts, and I'm so tired of the thoughts and prayers because, if there were truly thoughts and prayers, there'd be laws and regulations with it.
Come on now.
So, but let's move on because we had 40 or 50 state legislators head to Fort Wayne. What am I talking about? To Washington, D.C. yesterday to bend the knee to Trump and his request to, I guess, gerrymander or rig an even rigged system even more and try to gerrymander at least District 1, which is Congressman Frank Mervan, possibly your district, District 7, which covers almost all of Marion County. Your thoughts as those legislators head to Washington, D.C. and come back like they've just kissed the ring?
Well, I think, Brother Gary, the bottom line is the support for redistricting just isn't there with Hoosiers. 81% of the Hoosiers who were surveyed said they were against it. Indiana is already heavily gerrymandered, as we know. The scales are already tipped in the Republicans' favor. What more do they want? I mean, I think with the D.C. visit, obviously it's very enticing and whimsical to be at the People's House, the White House. And I would just hope that that kind of presence doesn't have a longer footprint. As I said before, Hoosiers don't like being told what to do. Most people don't like being told what to do, right? So buying elected officials, even worse. I think we have to understand as elected officials, we are not there in the period in which we're elected to lord over anyone, to be anyone's master. We're there as trustees and representatives over taxpayer interest. And If legislators go back and look at the numbers, Donald Trump only received 58% of the vote in Indiana, a state in which they control arguably 80%. And so that speaks to a degree of vulnerability that's there. Obama won the state in '08. Democrats still have a shot. And so I think if they play too cute and go too far, they put themselves at risk.
You know, when you take a look at what they're trying to do, you had mentioned we have 9 congressional seats. Democrats typically get 42% of the vote. You know, we should have 3 to 4 congressional seats just based on that. It's been gerrymandered the way it is to where there's only 2 seats. Most of the seats are usually not in play. The one that was the 5th district, they took care of that last time and went from a +4 Republican to a +15 just north of Indianapolis. And I guess that's not rigged enough for them.
No, that's such a good point. I mean, I think there's kind of a reality in life is that when you play too cute or when you overstep or go farther than your plan, that's when you step into territory. And you know, this is a part of a larger strategy by Donald Trump to silence dissent. I mean, even having his emissaries issue threats of primarying state representatives, state senators, it's a bridge too far. I mean, Indiana is a red state. We've always had a very strong independent streak, even a libertarian streak, if you will. Hoosiers don't like being told what to do. And I think that for legislators to bow down to a paper tiger like this, okay, certainly we understand Donald Trump intervenes in congressional primaries. That's a part of his appeal and a part of a strong arm tactic that has been quite successful with the members of Congress who are aligned with him. But to play into state house races and state senate races, especially in a place as unique as Indiana, it's a bridge too far, man.
Is there any doubt in your mind that they will call a special session? Because for me, you know, when you see some of these state reps, some of these state senators say, well, no, maybe not. They go to the White House and now their tune is completely changed. I think in my mind, there is no doubt there will be a special session and at least an attempt to do this.
Absolutely. And, you know, I would hope that clearer minds will prevail and put a halt to this madness. I mean, you know, with Trump's popularity waning rapidly, many of these elected officials will have to live with their decisions. And, you know, at the end of the day, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and face reality. But we're going to continue fighting.
As a lifelong resident of Marion County, you know, I'll go back to Andy Jacobs, your grandmother, yourself.
Yes, sir.
Can you imagine a scenario where the heart of Indianapolis is not representative by one person?
Well, I mean, it's happened before. Myself and my dear friend Susan Brooks, it's happened before with myself and Victoria Spartz. And it happened with, for a short time, myself and Greg Pence on the South Side. It's happening now with myself and
I'm talking about the heart of Indianapolis.
The heart of Indianapolis.
You know, inside that circle that you know is yours is the heart of Indianapolis, the heart of the capital. Can you imagine a scenario where that gets ripped 3 or 4 different ways?
Well, I think if folks wanted to, I mean, obviously there are different organizations waiting to file probably 20 lawsuits at this point immediately. I think to overlook the Voting Rights Act and to divide communities of interest, obviously those are grounds for lawsuit. I'm not a lawyer. I think that it's beyond the pale and it is enormously disrespectful. Look, it's one thing to live outside of Indianapolis, like most cities who have resentment toward capital cities because they feel like the resources are going there. And even though everyone goes to capital cities for sporting events and entertainment and to visit friends and relatives, it's one thing to be from another county and to make a decision about the capital county or Marion County, a place that is as diverse as Indianapolis, and go back to the comfort zone of where you live in another part of the great Hoosier state, they wouldn't appreciate the same happening to them. So to disregard that kind of dynamic, the strong Black presence that is in Indianapolis, the notable Latino presence, the growing South Asian, Arab American presence. We have more white brothers and sisters who are progressive in Marion County. To break up those communities, I think is disrespectful, I think it's unethical, and I think it's criminal.
Congressman, can you hold through a quick break?
Yes, sir.
You were listening to the Snide Report. I am Gary Snyder. We'll be right back. All right, this is the part of the Snide Report where we thank our sponsors, and we have a growing list. So let's start with Robin Winston. Robin has been there when we first sent out our first email, 147 subscribers. We're now over 108,000. So thank you, Robin Winston, and helping us get the podcast going in the right direction. Next up is our good friend, former Congresswoman Jill Long Thompson. Her book, Across the Aisle, Why Bipartisanship Works for America. Get that anywhere you buy your books. Also, former two-term governor, two-term U.S. Senator Evan Bayh. Evan has been a sponsor of the newsletter, now jumps on board with the podcast. Congressman Andre Carson. Congressman Carson has been there from the start. We're glad to have him over here on the newsletter now. He needs your help to win re-election next year. So make sure you support Congressman Carson. Next up, State Representative Cherish Pryor. Cherish has been there from the start on the newsletter, joining us on the podcast now. So is State Senator Greg Taylor. I want to thank Senator Taylor for all of his support through the years. Next, we have a couple of new sponsors. First up is Indiana Citizen. You want to check out their new project, One Heartbeat Away. Do Christian nationalists have an agenda for Indiana? You know, all you have to do is look at the lieutenant governorship and you can see right away that they do. So thank you, Indiana Citizen. Next up is Jump Laundry. You can visit them at jumplaundry.com. They have home pickup. They do your dry cleaning, wash and fold with, I might add, no judgments, and next day service. So if you're in a crunch for time, you don't want to do your own laundry, get a hold of Jump Laundry at jumplaundry.com or at 317-740-5011. And they will take care of all of your laundry needs. Welcome back to the Snide Report. I am your host, Gary Snyder. We are speaking today, not with Colin Allred, but Congressman Andre Carson. Congressman, as last question on this, and then we'll move on. But is there a scenario in your mind where they carve up Indianapolis into 3 or 4 different districts where you don't run?
Well, there are voting rights concerns. I mean, listen, I don't have a 50-year plan of being in office, but I think people appreciate the work that I'm doing.
Absolutely.
We have done and we do casework for other members of Congress in this state already. Many constituents from across the Hoosier state, from different parties, call our office because we have a great reputation of being reliable. And we have some of the best caseworkers, pound for pound, across the 50 states. So I intend on serving where I think I would best represent the interest of the voters. But, you know, again, I'm someone who tries to be as self-aware as possible and recognize that communities deserve certain representation. But, you know, we know that the greater Indianapolis area has changed and is changing very rapidly, particularly in the donut county. So we'll see what happens. But then again, you know, there's a growing sense, and I have, like you, close friends who are Republicans. I have relatives who are Republicans. And, you know, they're concerned about plain too cute and making their districts flippable. And I think that's the reason why what happened with the redistricting last time is that they wanted to protect certain members, and it happened. So to do this again and to divide communities of interest would be against, I think, today's Hoosier values. Maybe not in the 40s when Indiana was the home of the Ku Klux Klan. Some still think it is. Arguably, I think this would solidify that reputation, unfortunately so.
Well, we have earned the distinct honor of being what they call it, the middle finger of the South.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard that. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Let's move on to a different subject. The president has brought in National Guard from D.C. and other red states to patrol, martial law pretty much in D.C. He's threatened to do this in other cities, including possibly Indianapolis. Your thoughts on that as his martial law plan kind of tries to spread across the country from D.C.?
Well, as someone who has worked in law enforcement, not only as an officer with the state excise police, a special deputy with the Marion County Sheriff's Department, a supervisor watch officer with the Indiana Department of Homeland Security, and now I serve on the Intelligence Committee, I'm always concerned about increased crime rates. I'm always concerned about the safety of citizens, particularly seniors and children. But I'm also someone who experienced police harassment at an early age. I was arrested at 17 outside of a mosque, and were it not for people in the community and activists demanding my release, I would have been there that entire weekend. But I was released early. And so I'm always looking for balance. I am against the notion or an idea of a police state in the United States of America. And this resembles a police state. Now, we know that Donald Trump, President Trump, is very masterful when it comes to symbolism. His campaign is based on symbols, making America great again, taking America back to a mythical time that never existed. And I think that this move is very symbolic. I think for him, he wants to have achievements under his administration. DC is a starter. He already made a promise and a threat in his first term to bring the National Guard to Chicago. That has now materialized. I think Indiana, there's talk about it. It seems like it's not a high priority, but if it were to happen, I think it would have more symbolic value than actual value. Is there crime in Indiana? Absolutely. Has crime gone down in Indianapolis and Indiana? Very significantly. Bringing the National Guard in to help with that effort doesn't seem like a proper solution to me. I think if we're going to deputize our National Guard, that brings in another host of issues, because if we're bringing the National Guard in to patrol our cities, where will the National Guard be in the event of a national or global emergency where we really need them to deploy them to countries of interest to protect U.S. interests and U.S. citizens who are stationed abroad? And so those bring up different questions for me. I think the presence of tanks in cities can be very problematic. We've seen this in darker times in our history, and I think we're entering darker times now.
Crime kind of peaked back in 2020, and a lot of people forget who was president in 2020.
That's right.
That was Donald Trump.
Yes, sir.
Crime has consistently went down, but you're only as safe as you feel. And while crime has gone down, a lot of people still feel unsafe, whether it's the homeless being on the streets or coming up to people, whether it's, you can go down the line on different scenarios. But the fact is, the big, beautiful bill cut tens of millions of dollars for money coming to Indiana that would be able to hire counselors, hire social workers, hire more police for the streets. You oppose that bill.
Yep.
Your thoughts as you see this money not coming into communities, and then the president screaming about crime. And I think Governor Pritzker said it best. Trump and the Republicans are literally defunding the police.
You said it better than me. I mean, It's absolutely happening. I think anytime where, you have law enforcement, and I always joke with my firefighters buddies, I say people hate cops, they love firefighters, but people hate cops until they need them. And as someone who has served in law enforcement, look, it's a thankless job. It's a noble profession. There've been a few bad apples who have given it a bad reputation. That's in any field. But police officers are already underpaid, like teachers. And the stress levels in law enforcement are such that we need more resources, not just to incent officers to stay and to become attracted to the profession, but we need more investment in wraparound services for those who are committed to serve, for those who need mental health counseling. I mean, divorce rates are astronomical as it relates to that particular profession, but we need mental health services in a way that encourages um, officers to seek mental health counseling or professional services without fear of retribution or feeling like it will hurt their promotional opportunities. And so there's a lot that has to be done to cultivate, to reform in many ways, law enforcement as a whole, but to take away the kind of funding that you just mentioned, particularly in a state like Indiana, where in many cases, for towns that don't even have a town marshal, their only police presence may come from the county sheriff's office. And if they're stretched thinly, state police will fill in. And I've seen it personally where you have towns that don't even have a law enforcement presence. So they rely on the sheriff's department. And in the event that the sheriff's department can't meet that need, state police has to come in and respond to a call. And so we need more services. We need more of an investment. And now is not the time to take away that investment, especially in the great Hoosier state.
Anything else you wanted to cover here before we let you run?
No, man. Thank you for the opportunity. I know we've been trying to make it happen, man. I see the books back there. I know you're a walking encyclopedia, but I also know you're a reader, and readers are leaders.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
People send us books just out of the blue. I mean, just all kinds of, and I usually, if they have to do with politics, I usually take them down to the Democrat headquarters.
Wow.
So
Wow. I love that, man.
a library. Thank you, Congressman Carson.
Thank you, Brother Gary. Appreciate you.
I'm Gary Snyder. He is not. Matter of fact, he's not even Colin Allred. He's Congressman Andre Carson. This is the SnydeReport, and we are out.